is SVG.
9 minutes on to 11 o'clock here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You're locked on to WFM 99.9 Clean Fresh Sound, and this is your Ace Your Turn program. Remember, Ace Your Turn is an interactive program, so the numbers to call are 457 if you're calling from a local landline, 532-9997 if you're calling from a digital cell phone, or you can call us, send us a message on WhatsApp at 457-9997. The It's Your Turn program is being hosted by Mr. Cecil Ryan. Good morning to you, Cecil.
Thank you very much, Karen, and good morning to you. And good morning to my colleague online, who's my co-host, Lansford. I'll come back to him to ask him to greet our listeners. But I just want to say as well, we will be having in studio as guests Dr. Gerald Thompson, and he will be speaking mainly on the situation at with the bacteria at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, and he may wish to speak on other things, but when he gets here, he will say exactly what he will be focusing on. In the meantime, I just want to greet, well, let me turn over right now to Lansford to greet you, our listeners. Lansford, over to you.
Hi, Cecil. Good morning. Morning, Karen. Greetings to all your listeners, and it's an honor for me to be sitting with your listeners this morning, Cecil. I want to take this opportunity to greet your usual co-host as well, Philbert John P. John. I hope he's doing well, and I hope that sooner rather than later he would be back with you on Sunday mornings, Cecil.
Yes.
Thank you, Cecil.
All right, thanks. I'll get back to you shortly. But yes, I want to join you in giving a shout out to Philbert. I know he's still having some issues. Last time we spoke, he did indicate that, but I'm hoping that this morning he's feeling better than the last time I spoke with him, and that he might be able to follow the program this morning. So Philbert, if you are, head up to you, and thumbs up, of course. And I also want to greet Joel Providence, who from time to time hosts the program. I didn't call on him to do so this week, not even last week, but he knows that from time to time these days I'll be reaching out to him, and he's always willing and ready to come in. So head up to you, Joel. Hope you're doing well this morning. And I just want to as well shout out all the persons who are listening, wherever you are, through what media. Happy to be with you another Sunday morning, and happy that you are prepared to share your time this Sunday morning with us. It's a situation where we know that you have other things, perhaps other things that are just as important or more important to do, but we are privileged to have you in our company as usual this morning. So I just want to give a special shout out to persons who are on our list of regulars. Persons like Mr. Mason in Lay. Good morning to you, Mr. Mason. I hope you're doing well this morning. Bongo Shaka, greetings and welcome to the program as usual. And also we want to give a hail up to Bristol, all the way out in Overland. Good morning to you, Bristol. Hope you're feeling well this morning. A person I haven't shouted out for a good while is Brother Stewart. Good morning to you, Hugh Stewart. I hope you are okay and doing well. And all the other folks who are in that area, who are in that kind of circumstance right now in your life. Greetings to all of you, and give a smile this morning. It's good to be smiling, notwithstanding the challenges that you may be having this morning. Just want to hail up as well our regulars, as in Miss Harold. Good morning to you, our good friend out in Brighton. Greetings and welcome to the program this morning. Lavon, good morning. Welcome to the program. We hope you're listening this morning as usual. Give a shout out to I haven't done so for a good while. Julian Francis, greetings to you, and hope you're doing well this morning, Julian. I know things are challenging these days, but stay up. And all the other folks whose names I haven't yet called, folks from Fancy all the way down to Kaliakor, the villages in between, and all the way up to Fituse in the valleys and in the hills. If you're there, greetings and welcome to the program. Down all the way down to Campbell in Union. Good morning. And that includes, of course, Beckwe Mustique, Canawan, all the way down to Campbell in Union. Greetings to you. And I just want to say sometime soon we're considering having some special touch, some special link up with folks in the other all the other communities across the country. We'll see more about that perhaps later on in this program. And we want to greet our folks, friends and folks overseas, Vinci's and soon to become Vinci's Caribbean people. Good morning to all of you from Bermuda to Cuba to Puerto Rico to Jamaica to the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, all the way down to Anguilla. Good morning to all of you. Montserrat, if you're there, Antigua, Barbuda, St. Kitts Nevis, Dominica, good morning to all of you. St. Lucia, greetings, welcome to the program. Grenada, Peter Martinique and Carriacou, good morning to you. Trinidad and Tobago, the folks who are there, Guyana, and all the other English and non-English speaking countries. We greet you very warmly and we're happy that you're able to be with us this morning. It's a pleasure, of course. And I want to greet as well those folks who are overseas. Cordial greetings to you. I mean, when I say overseas, further overseas, as in the US and Canada, all of you, whoever you are, greetings to you. And those folks who are on the other side of the Atlantic, in the UK and Europe generally, good morning to all of you. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, especially those who perhaps are over there in Taiwan listening to us. We greet you very warmly. And we welcome you to our program. And we would be very pleased if you're able to participate by calling. I mean, participate more fully than listening by calling and sharing your thoughts, your views on matters that we may discuss this morning. So we look forward to that and your own involvement in our program this morning. Of course, I greet people through, as I said, the various platforms. Star FM, Garfin Radio, and of course, VFM, all the various platforms here in VFM. So, yeah, I have tried to make this roundabout. I did say that we will be joined later on by Dr. Thompson. He's soon to be here, so when he comes in, we would allow him to give greetings as well. But a few things have been happening around the country, and I just want to recognize one thing, and then get into the usual report from Win Calendar, and then we will get into other aspects of the program. Well, there's an interesting article in the Searchlight newspaper. Well, actually, the column by Professor Justin Robinson. He now has this column there. And it's on page 7. Very interesting. And I smiled when I read it. I laughed, in fact, when I read it, because the article itself, the topic is what that he talked about, stopped at Grand Gate. And when I identify very closely with the stories that he related. And I'll get back to those. To that story. In fact, I'll get back to the article. I won't start with the article now because I just want to get out to the... Well, Lancewell, anything you want to bring up now? Because I was just about to get into the Win Calendar report. Anything you want to bring up before that?
Cecily, in as much as you're going to Win's report, I just want to take this opportunity to greet the journalists across St. Vincent and the Grenadines who may be listening to the program at this time.
I join you.
Just want to say that.
Yeah, I join you as well. Yes, I join you. All right. So we will get into Win Callender's Across the Caribbean report.
This is Caribbean Connection News. Thanks for joining our network of stations. I'm Win Callender, and this week we begin our coverage in St. John's, Antigua. Prime Minister the Honorable Gaston Brown has pushed back against Caribbean judicial leaders who condemned comments in which he threatened to deport a sitting judge and declare him persona non grata if he continues to receive complaints about lenient sentences for serious crimes.
But man, if you can't follow the lead of the parliament to give longer sentences, leave our country voluntarily, otherwise they're going to deport you.
Legal bodies have been responding, denouncing PM Brown's comments as a public threat, which can undermine separation of powers. The OECS Bar Association is the latest body to release a statement. It called Prime Minister Brown's comments an affront to the independence and integrity of the judiciary. It also described the threat as reckless and unfortunate, saying the reference to the judge as quote unquote brother man is likewise demeaning, disrespectful, and highly inappropriate. It claims judges may be less willing to sit in Antigua and Barbuda if they believe they could face deportation or be declared persona non grata for their judicial decisions. The OECS Bar Association is also supporting the local bar's call for the threat to be withdrawn. It wants Prime Minister Brown to assure the public that government will not interfere in the administration of justice. Prime Minister Brown says, however, that his position is not about controlling the courts and continues to argue that serious offenses, particularly gun crimes and repeat offenders, require tougher responses. PM Brown has written to Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court Chief Justice Margaret Price Finlay, proposing an independent committee to review sentencing for firearms and other serious violent offenses, repeat offending, and the wider criminal justice system in Antigua and Barbuda. He has proposed that former Caribbean Court of Justice President Justice Adrian Saunders chair the committee. Subject to his agreement, Brown said he had also consulted former Chief Justice Sir Dennis Byron and Justice Jeffrey Smith, SC, the CARICOM high-level representative on law and criminal justice, and both were prepared to assist. Our news this week out of Road Town, Tortola, BVI. Junior Minister for Economic Development, the Honorable Lorna G. Smith, is bringing key players in the marine industry together later this month for a program aimed at strengthening local businesses and expanding opportunities for Virgin Islanders in the sector. The program will focus on the challenges and opportunities facing the marine industry, particularly day charter and water taxi operators. The junior minister announced the initiative this week. She said the day and term charter sectors have contributed significantly to the territory's tourism industry over the years, making it important enough to bring stakeholders together to hear the concerns and recommendations for further development.
We all know how important our boating industry is to us here in the British Virgin Islands. Yes, we get millions in terms of tourism, in terms of the visitors who come on our cruise ships. But in terms of the persons who are the long stay, the stayovers, the term charters, the persons who really contribute to our tourism industry, it's the persons in the boating industry. And following a meeting I had with residents in the boating industry in Virgin Gorda, and had a meeting a few weeks before that with the boating community, and it was a combination of the charterers and the term charterers. And out of that meeting, the clear view from that meeting was that the charterers, or the British Virgin Islands, has the ability to provide day chartering facilities for the territory. And I think that is something that we can be very proud of. We want to see more of it.
The junior minister of economic development said the initiative is being pursued collaboratively, noting that she recently met with one of the territory's leading boat companies as part of efforts to engage in the industry. From Kingstown, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, the Department of Private Sector Development conducted its annual monitoring visit to the Campton Park Industrial Estate this week as part of government's ongoing engagement with businesses benefiting from the Fiscal Incentives Act. The industrial estate is home of two of SVG's leading manufacturers, St. Vincent Brewery Limited and East Caribbean Metals. Christo Primus, head of the Department of Private Sector Development, explained that the annual exercise is designed to monitor companies receiving benefits under the Financial Incentives Act and to gain a better understanding of the operation and performance.
These manufacturing operations play a critical role in not just in employing local intentions, but also they are a major part of our export, our output that we send overseas. They also are a critical component in generating business activity. The St. Vincent Brewery, for example, as you know, produce malted beverages, soft drinks, and beers. That production creates employment and business activity for a number of individuals and other businesses throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Of course, East Caribbean Metals, who we also visited today, they are the major producer of roofing, steel, and other metal products, including PVC pipes and guttering, etc.
Our next up is Bridgetown, Barbados. The Organization of Eastern Caribbean States Bar Association and the Organization of Commonwealth Caribbean Bar Associations are calling for an immediate and thorough investigation into the disclosure of private emails between Caribbean Court of Justice judges, as well as an urgent examination of allegations concerning the court. In a joint statement, the two regional legal organizations described the public disclosure of private correspondence relating to ongoing internal matters at the CCJ as disturbing and unfortunate. They said the circumstances surrounding the disclosure should be investigated to determine whether it resulted from an intentional or accidental leak or an orchestrated hack. The statement says, quote, whether or not the public disclosures were as a result of an intentional or accidental leak or an orchestrated hack, the technical security and computer systems of the CCJ require careful scrutiny and urgent remediation, end quote. The association also called for the various accusations contained in recent media reports to be urgently investigated and examined for the veracity and accuracy. They urged the Regional Judicial and Legal Services Commission to facilitate discussions on the allegations and take, quote, considered responsible action, end quote, in support of the CCJ. This is the roundup of news from across the Caribbean, produced by Win Calendar for Caribbean Connection News. Our next stop is Kingston, Jamaica. Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Andrew Holness has described the demolition of homes in Cooper's Pen, Trelawney, as a disaster. PM Holness, who spoke for the first time on the issue on Friday, said he will not say too much until he understands the situation fully. But he says the government is carefully assessing Tuesday's mass demolition to see how the government can support the residents. There has been widespread outrage following the mass demolition of homes in the district. The social media was flooded with images of the demolition exercise as dozens of families appealed for help at the higher level. On Friday, PM Holness responded.
The images that we have seen are disturbing. My heart goes out to the families who have been dislocated. I see a particular display. These are the tragedies, and it is one thing that history does is to repeat itself. And I am committed to ensure that our history is not repeated. I do intend to address the specific matter when I have the full details of the matter. The matter is quite complex and it involves court rulings for which I need to be properly advised on those court rulings before I speak. I do intend to, however, address the matter. As soon as the matter occurred and it was brought to my attention, I had no prior knowledge of it. None of our ministers, certainly not the member of parliament. I got a call very early in the morning, quite surprised. And immediately we mobilized resources from ODPEM and the Ministry of Labour and Social Security to assist because technically it was a disaster.
Prime Minister Holness said, whatever the government does, it has to ensure that it is made clear that squatting is wrong, but also find the balance which shows every Jamaican should have equal access to land and housing.
We will have to find ways to support those families who are impacted. But whatever our response is, we have to be careful that we don't set a precedence that is not sustainable.
News out of Castries, St. Lucia this week. The plea bargaining bill, championed by Minister of Home Affairs, the Honorable Jeremiah Norbert, aims to resolve critical judicial issues such as extensive criminal backlogs or defendants spending more time on remand than court sentences. Government Senator, the Honorable Virginia Albert Poirier, says that the legislation could also be used to address custodial terms of inmates who have been monitored over the years for good conduct.
It has always been an issue that I am concerned about in terms of inmates who have been incarcerated. And some of them have been doing quite well in terms of their behavior. And sometimes it's necessary that you revisit their sentence. If they're putting up a case as to why they think they should reduce their sentence, I think that is a very appropriate legislation to address that matter. So in that light, I will speak to some extent on this matter because I have a passion for it.
The plea bargaining bill is designed to make it easier for an accused person to make a deal with the government's lawyers before a final decision is made on the case. If the lawyers agree, both sides can settle the case quickly without going through a full trial. News out of Roseau, Dominica. There is a major breakthrough in the investigation surrounding the disappearance of 16-year-old Jebiah Paul, who was reported missing on July 24th. The investigation took a major turn following the discovery of severely decomposed human remains on Wednesday. At a press conference this week, it was revealed that a police officer had been arrested in connection with the matter and is now on remand. Chief of Police Lincoln Corbett told the media,
in furtherance of the investigations, on the 12th of August, I can report that one of our very own Police Officer Constable Jean-Luc Langlais of Portsmouth was charged with the offense of murder. He was taken before a magistrate's court. The charge read to him, and he has been remanded at the state prison pending the trial. To the family of Jebiah Paul, I extend sincere condolences, and also to the entire community of Portsmouth. And I assure you that we'll do everything in our power to ensure that justice is done. We will leave no stone unturned, not one stone. And anybody who had any hand, anything to do with the disappearance and murder of this young child will face the full brunt of the law.
Minister of National Security and Legal Affairs, the Honorable Rayburn Blackmore, has given high commendation to the police.
We knew that investigation, because by virtue of its nature, was one that had to be done by precision and guided by intelligence. And that intelligence, as you heard from the Chief of Police, was able to monitor every movement of the suspect and brought us to the location. Now,
We do not want to say much because the matter has to be ventilated before the court, the due process, etc. This matter has to be dealt with without compromising your process in a timely fashion. And let me warn, I don't know, I'm not sure how long I'm going to be as a Minister of National Security, but let me warn them fellows there, and women and men alike, whoever you are, who believe that you're going to get away because you can engage in the commission of crime with sophistication. Those days are behind us.
And finally, this story out of Georgetown, Guyana. The secretary to the Commission of Inquiry into the July 18th sinking of the MV Barima, which left 73 people dead and more than 30 others missing and feared dead, said it is finalizing arrangements for the beginning of public hearings in the tragedy. Attorney Javed Shadiq said that the Commission's Secretariat is currently addressing the legal and administrative requirements which will guide its proceedings, adding, quote, they're working on checking the legal aspects, end quote. Sadiq said that the Commission is considering the various scenarios which may arise during the hearing, and that once the arrangements are completed, a public notice will be issued outlining the details and informing the public and the media on how the hearings will be conducted. The 5-member commission, chaired by Justice Godfrey Phillips Smith of Belize, was sworn in by President Irfan Ali to investigate the circumstances surrounding the sinking of the MV Barima. The government has since initiated efforts to recover the sunken vessel, which is located in approximately 13 to 15 meters of water with strong tidal currents, limited underwater visibility, and challenging sea conditions, presenting significant technical considerations for the salvage operation. And that's where I finish my operation for this week. For Caribbean Connection News, I am Win Cap.
All right. So again, we want to thank Win for that detailed across the Caribbean reporting. Thank you very much, Win. And as usual, we want to give persons a chance to comment, respond to any of the items that you may have heard in the broadcast. You're free to do so, as usual, now. But let's hear from Lansford. Anything you want to talk about? But even before you do that, my apology. I need to officially again welcome Dr. Gerald Thompson, who is now in studio with us. So, Dr. Thompson, greetings and happy to have you in studio.
Certainly my pleasure. I mean, we could do on the radio. It's always a pleasure.
You're a good citizen.
One extra time, a good citizen.
Good citizen.
Good citizen.
You're not the type that Sparrow sang about a few years ago.
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay. Real good citizen. Thank you very much to be here. Lansford, yes?
Cecil, I want to join you and to indicate that I find the report by Win Callender to be very comprehensive, detailed, and he spoke on a number of serious issues that have taken place during the week across the Caribbean. I want to start where he started, Cecil, in Antigua, but extended to our region. There are certain behaviors that we have come to expect from leaders, maybe in Asia, in Eastern Europe, places like North Korea, China, Russia, Turkey. There are certain behaviors that we have come to expect from leaders from those parts. But more and more, you're seeing it right here in the Caribbean, where our leaders have becoming more and more reckless in their statements, sometimes in their action. And I think that issue with what I would refer to as the judiciary versus the other important arm of government, the executive, is quite telling and very important for us to note. Mr. Brown, in my opinion, has been speaking quite reckless over the years. I remember during, I think it was the COVID pandemic, and at the point where Liat went out of business, that he was on radio making some comments that, in my opinion, at the time, were very reckless. And this statement with respect to the judiciary and deporting a judge should be condemned. And even the folks in Antigua, no matter how much they disagree with the judge, must see it as an attack on the judiciary that we must not allow to go unnoticed. You can't be referring to a judge as brother man and you would declare him non grata. It is so untenable, Cecil, to have a Caribbean leader behaving like that. We have a tradition of an independent judiciary, one that is separate and distinct from the executive arm of the state, and we must at all times seek to preserve that. Cecil, that brings me back home to St. Vincent, and.
Lancelot, just before you go on, get into the St. Vincent experience, can I just add to what you've said about the Prime Minister Brown? And you have said it, but I just want to say it's unconstitutional what he is trying to do. The Constitution makes it abundantly clear. If he's not satisfied with how the judges are deciding, go and have the Constitution change. But you cannot just willy-nilly give threats to judges. So I certainly share your very strongly, so share your opinion on this.
Cecil, I don't think that's a matter for changing the Constitution. And that's something that we have to discourage in our Caribbean, that when a leader finds something that they do not agree with, they go and change the Constitution to suit their own cause. So I think there should have been a simple matter where well, it's not simple, but it should have been a matter where the Attorney General will meet with the judges in Antigua, not just the particular judge that was targeted, but meet with the judges and have discussions with them, outlining the executive disagreement and concern with the sentencing. We should not attempt to contravene the discretionary arm of the judiciary. That must be in place at all times. Now I come to St. Vincent and the media in St. Vincent. It is my opinion that the media in St. Vincent, particularly radio, has for some time now been following social media. They have been marching behind social media. Mm-hmm. And to me, it is ridiculous. We have very important things that are happening in St. Vincent. And our media workers, really, it seems to me that they don't see them, unless somebody from social media pick it up, and then mainstream, what we used to call mainstream media, would continue the discussion, particularly morning radio. And very often the discussion is shallow, it is on the surface, they don't touch some of the deep issues that are involved in the matter. I give you a simpler example, Cecil. For many years, there have been a debate with respect to the value-added tax on electricity. The government set the value-added tax on electricity to commence for domestic consumers at 250 kilowatt hours kWh. And there have been even discussions on that. You will, there are those who are advocating for it to be removed. But here you had an important disclosure here, Cecil, last week right here on this program, that the average consumption of domestic households in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is 140 units, 140 kilowatt hours. That's the average consumption. Now VAT is added, is charged on consumption over 250 units. It therefore means on the average, domestic consumers in St. Vincent do not pay VAT on electricity. And I emphasize on the average because I am not saying that is the case for all domestic consumers. Certainly, there are some domestic consumers who use, relatively speaking, a lot of electricity. And you would hear some domestic consumers, such as my friend who I will not call his name, a friend of this program, would tell us that his electricity is maybe $500, $900. Okay. But his household can afford it. Those who do not consume that amount of electricity, there's no charge associated with their electricity. And I think that should have been something we should have heard about in the media over the week. And so there were many other important disclosures that came out from Mr. Myers, yes. Mr. Myers' appearance on this program. Mm-hmm. And I am not saying so because I was part of the program. If I was a listener to the program, I would have expected a number of articles to be written on the basis of that program. While I'm at the media, Cecil, I have noticed our media, in terms of the work that they're doing, there are some important stories that they're not highlighting. And it seemed to me that when it comes to the politics of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, over the years, you have been hearing accusation about this media house or this journalist who is in the pockets of the government of the day, the ULP. But what I am seeing here smells of incompetence and twin with laziness and unwillingness on the part of those who are involved in journalism. I am not talking about the commentators like yourself, Cecil. I'm talking about the real journalists, those who earn their daily keep from being journalists. I think they have much more they can do if that arm of our governance, who commonly refer to themselves as a fourth estate, there's much more for them to do. Those are my comments for the time being, sister.
All right. Interesting. Which I share wholeheartedly, by the way. Dr. Thompson, are you commenting on anything so far from Wynn's thing, and also a reaction to?
No, I didn't. This is something.
Did you listen to last week's program with
Tony?
Tony,
Yes,
man?
I listened to most of it. Yeah,
I remember during the program, Lansford did point to a significant part of the program which he expected there to be big news about, and I believe this is the part. Lansford, is it the one you just?
That is one of them, Cecil. As I said at the time, during his opening comments, Tony said something that I didn't want to stop him. I didn't want to interrupt him. And by the time we got to the point where we were having the discussion, I forgot completely what it is. And I really expected the media to be reminding St. Vincent to be talking about it. And I have not heard it, and to this date, I don't remember it. So maybe it was not important as I thought.
Well, as usual, there's a recording of the program, so we're good to go back to it. But the point you raise, I don't want to preempt you, Dr. Thompson, so go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You finish your point.
So the point you raise, where you're saying that Thornley said that the average consumer uses 140 units.
Domestic consumer,
yes. 140 units. And that's a telling point he made. It struck me. But I expected as like Lansford, that the media would have picked it up and deconstruct it and probe it and come out with a statement on what it means for life and living.
Exactly, so. Yeah. Exactly my point. Because it's not just about the value-added tax. As I spoke about the value-added tax, it also has to do with the way we live in St. Vincent. And I think one caller made a reference to it, may have been former Consul General Fitzhuggins.
Yes.
I think he spoke about the darkness that exists around St. Vincent. And as I said, that disclosure by Mr. Myers, it's deep. It tells us a lot about St. Vincent.
And especially he compared it with from the experience of other countries. If you remember, he did.
Yes.
You know, St. Lucia and the other countries. He did, and I just found it amazing because but as you said, people follow the lead from Facebook. Facebook lead thoughts and action is in over the world.
I'd like to come in here.
Yes.
This is something what Lansford said I've always been saying, the shift. And it's unfortunate we do see a decline in readership, sales, and so of newspapers, which came out once a week.
Yes.
Attempts to have them come out twice a week didn't really go so far. And the new aspect of social media is able to just throw a ton of stuff at you. And people surf not only here, things are coming up ad hoc. A St. Lucian thing, say Trinidad thing, 3-4 Vincentian things. So that it's really scattered in the dominance of what you're hearing about in the United States with Trump and so forth. These things seem to dominate the social media today. It's unfortunate that journalists are looking to pick up what they think people may be really, interested in or something, and things that are coming out that are just so false and just so untrue, and they're really making the cut for what is discussed. And I lament it. I really lament this process, and we're not really getting real news. We're not getting factual stuff until sometime later, and the speed at which these things are going, they're not being corrected.
Mm-hmm. Well, a few calls are coming in, but I need to read this comment from our colleague. Well, let me take the call and then we'll go back to the statement. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, greetings, brother, sister. I'll catch you this morning. Yeah, your WhatsApp is
I
there.
expected to see you on WhatsApp.
Yeah, I say I'm going to check him now. Yeah, I don't know, but the WhatsApp line busy. I don't know if it was causing that. I don't
No,
know.
a call was coming in repeatedly, but I was allowing both Dr. Thompson here and Lansford to finish your thoughts, and then I'd switch to the WhatsApp. But so be it anyway.
Yeah, right. I just want to make sure there's no technicality.
No, there's none.
And so on. Yeah,
There's none.
because you can take more than one WhatsApp.
Yes.
That's why I tried.
No, I can take one
Yes,
WhatsApp, and the regular call simultaneously.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So, greetings to you, brother Gerard in the studio, and my brethren operator there, and also Joel and whoever.
Well, Joel is not in studio, but he might be listening.
Yeah, no, I know he be listening. So, and I hope John are planning to go and try to visit him. He lives in Barley, right? Somewhere there.
No. You would have been lost if you had gone there. No. I'll give his number, and then you can call and make contact with him. Not now, but I'll send it to you.
Right. And you ain't linked with me yet, and I'm getting a link for your team what you forget. So please tell Cecil before you forget, because maybe get new timers. Don't forget my number in the studio today. Walk with it. And
Well, in fact, I'm writing it even as you speak. I'm making sure I write it down.
Appreciate that very much, brother Cecil. Yeah, sure. And brother Wee, greetings to you. Last but be the first, okay? Yeah. And the matter of my brethren there, you're recording. First, let me commend the Dominican police establishment for the quick investigation and levy the charge on their own. I hope that many others in the Caribbean are looking at that and take an example. You know, we need much of that in the public domain when police are held accountable for whatever misbehavior they have or whatever disciplinary action they take on civilians. So I think it's a good example, right? But your thing like what Lanford said, Gaston Brown, I was surprised that he wasn't made to apologize. He was asked to apologize by the Judiciary Commission there in Antigua. I think it's presumptuous of him to say what he said and in particular naming a particular magistrate or judge here to leave the country and so on. That's presumptuousness and pompousness and arrogancy. And no leader should go in that former state there. But I think this is the problem is the reins of power. You see, he'd be in power, as they say, so long that like power controlling him and got him giddy, as we Jamaican will say, you know. You have him giddy. If you don't control that power now to manage it, as we say, it make you look foolish at times, no matter how intelligent, educated you be. So you have to be mindful of that. But it was uncalled for. I think it was pompousness. Eh? And to say what's happening in the Caribbean, but these leaking of information, judges, by now people should start to put in security measures into their system. That's what a lot of people doing. Although they have some professional hackers in the world, and no matter what system you have, they still get you to you. But it is uncalled for whoever do these things, and they're very mischievous.
Are you referring to the case of the CCJ?
The leaking of the information, judges, phone, and magistrates in particular.
Okay,
yeah,
you're talking generally. Okay.
Yeah, in that one. I was kind of taken back when I listened a day or two ago on a program on a news forecast. I said, wow, that's happening. So we've seen it all over the world, you know, and they want to implicate people in things and personality things or something about women or whatever. So we have been mindful, and I hope these people put things properly in place to try to prevent some of these things, right? Although we know, as I said, there's good hackers in the world, as you call them, and so on, right? Cecil, I don't know what is your take on like pardoning people in prison for good behavior. Don't you think there's a system and rules in the prison that once you abide with it, those rules and regulations, and officers don't abuse the rules neither, that everybody would be in harmony and will be in good behavior. So do you see in like in St. Lucia? I know it does.
Well, it's not quite the same thing that you're saying in St. Lucia. It's almost pre-bargaining, which is a matter. If a matter is going before the court, well, the lawyers, for the defender and the prosecutor, what it means that they can get together and make a deal. Basically, that's what it is, which is different from somebody already in the system, in the court, and being pardoned.
Well, it all boils down to because the place where you are in prison, in the prison system, as I said, is according to your behavior pattern within there. That comes into play when things come on board, because these evidence will come to prove that, okay, yes, Bongo Shop is a very good behaved prisoner. He teaches the prisoners a lot of stuff. He does this, does that. He's very disciplined, whatever.
But that usually happens after sentencing, Bongo Shaka.
Yeah.
That's an after sentence, consideration.
Okay.
But I think it happens. I don't know often, but it does happen in some jurisdictions. I think it happens here.
I know it does happen. I one or two people know that got pardoned who was having a long sentence and so forth, and they're very productive now. I keep my eyes on them, so they're very productive. So I say, well, it was a good thing they were out of the system. Hey, Cecil, you see what Brother Weeks has said? I get real. I don't want to use the word, but I go use the word rich. I get rich sometimes with these journalists. I don't want to use the word so-called journalists.
But before you go on, let me share with you a comment from one of our colleagues. He's saying, Cecil, who tell you that media workers listen to this program? Maybe they didn't hear.
No bad with that.
No, maybe they didn't hear. Maybe they didn't listen to the program.
Cecil, I could guarantee, I show Brother Weeks will agree with me. I show about 70-90% of them listen. As a man, they do some secret thing and I'm pretend they don't listen. And that time they listen everything we say, right? But I think there are some kind of lazy attitude. Many of them don't want to resort to news. They pick up news from another station or some other insert from some other way, and they just write up news. And sometimes that's why some of them repeat the same news for 3 and 4 days. They're very lazy. They just stay in office in air condition and do what they are doing and so on. But I was looking. I was saying what Brother Weeks said. I was looking that somebody would have picked up even in discussion what Tony Mind was saying pertaining to electricity and so forth, right? This is a integral part of people's life when it's coming on electricity and also for businesses. That's why that chap businesses to come in a country when a factory have to be in production and have to 1 million in current every month or whatever, or less or sometime. So it's important. I thought they would have pick up and pick out the main pointers of what Stanley Myers was uttering towards what's taking place, and to suit people meditation a bit to know exactly what's happening. Because I always want to hear somebody come with evidential facts of what comparing to other islands, other sister islands, of what are the charges and what they're being charged for and so forth. And I'm glad when you came in on board, you made a good decision of bringing him on the studio there to discuss on these matters. Because very hard into a lot of people, Cecil. Because in that case, you use $100-something in current and your bill gone up to $3 something because of fuel costs and so on. It's not easy. I know some people are feeling it, right? But right now,
Bongo Shaka, remember, is when you go beyond 250 units that you pay VAT. That's the point that was made by. We've always known that, but Tony repeated that point on the program. But also, more significantly, is the fact that he said, and on average, residential users don't pay VAT because they use 140 on an average, and that's low. So that they don't have to pay VAT. They don't pay VAT on a lot of people don't pay VAT on electricity. That is the point that stuck with me when Tony Man said it.
But Cecil, I can't tell a porter what to do in life, eh? But as we know, do you think sometimes because porter choice of people want to have all type of gadgets in their home, they want to have a microwave, they want to have a two-wash machine, a dryer, this or that, and using an iron, and don't have educated backgrounds on how some of these things, the wattage they are, and how much current they pull, and how to utilize them, and how to handle them. I don't know, some people try to live beyond the mean because they see your neighbor have some things and you want to get the same, and you pushing yourself and putting pressure on yourself. I don't know. I think somewhat that's part of the social life.
Bongo Shaka, I think Dr. Thompson want to give a reply to what you're saying.
You know,
Brother Thompson.
You are correct, but you know, I've heard so many persons, they have these things, but we complain about other people having those things, you know? And the response would be, well, you have it, so why can't I have it? And that's understandable. But I think the big issue is, and Cecil would have raised the VAT, the big issue is the cost of the fuel and the fact that the cost of the fuel has risen by so much. We don't always contemplate that when we buy in these things, that the fuel surcharge can go way sky high. And I think it brings us back to this debate of what other means are we using to generate energy other than the importation of oil. I'd always been a big advocate for the geothermal project. And unfortunately, it didn't pan out in the way we had expected. But I want to imagine if we had really been generating geothermal energy, right? And being able to bring down that particular cost at a stable level, we would not have had so much of a spike in terms of the impact. We would still probably needed to import fuel, you know what I mean, in order to run some of our diesel engines and so forth. But in addition, in terms of the expansion of solar, which we've seen, you know, to some extent over the airport, on the roofs of certain buildings, but really, I don't think it has gone far enough. And I think this is a lesson that should be learned, because there are going to be other episodes when fuel prices are going to go up again. So I could understand, let's dispense with this equipment. Let's dispense with a television and a microwave and so forth. And let's go back to the cold pot and all that kind of stuff. And I could understand that aspect, you know, but I don't think it is really going to happen. And we have to then concentrate on how we generate really electricity and fuel.
Let me just interject to say that somebody and the earlier discussion, our colleague was saying that the young reporters do quote unquote research and take leads from social media. So we can talk about that sometime afterwards. But there's a call on WhatsApp, so I'm going to take the call alongside yours. Bongo Shaka.
Oh, you can do that. Okay.
Yes, I can. Yes, the system allows us to do that. Good morning and welcome to the program. Others are on. Bongo Shaka is on our regular line, so be aware of that. You may wish to interact, but go ahead. Good morning.
Good morning. I think the reason why they did not publish it is because Mr. Weeks,
Did not publish what?
The VNLEC thing with Tony Myers program.
Oh, you mean the reason why they didn't didn't do articles from the discussion? You mean?
Yeah, I'll give you the reason why.
Go ahead.
It's because Mr. Weeks says, I bet you they're listening, and by this evening they're gonna be publishing an article about this program. So they want to surprise Mr. Weeks and disappoint Mr. Weeks.
Mr. Fox.
You have disappointed our
Mr. Fox.
Yes, Lance, but go ahead.
I said absolutely nothing that the man who's saying this. I said absolutely none of that. And you must not come here to talk to mislead people. I did challenge the journalists to get information from the program, but I said nothing.
You said by this evening it would have been published something about it.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Well, go back and listen. Go back and listen to what you said.
It's all right. Yeah. So let's go on from there. So, but we can go back and
also,
listen.
Yeah, but hello.
You're on.
Yeah,
but hear me. Hear me.
Because
listen to me, please. I said when I answered the call from you that there's somebody else on the other line. Bongo Shaka.
Yeah, I'm going to wrap up with
No, not that I want you to wrap up. But you're not listening enough, you know. Not that I want you to wrap up necessarily. If you wish to, it's up to you. But I just want you to say Bongo Shaka may have an interaction to make.
Yeah,
or Dr. Thompson.
I want to comment there, Cecil.
Yes.
I don't think it was the grade of Mr. Weeks of the statement he made when he threw it out there towards the media. I think it could have been look at as a challenge for them to take up on the important matters, because it's something very important matters. He's a man who was heading for our electricity company for years, and he had found into information. So I don't think Mr. Weeks being mischievous or presumptuous in his utterance to say he's challenging media personals. However,
Dr. Thompson,
Queens, if somebody,
who's Queen?
Queens, the caller.
Oh, the
caller from Long Island.
Oh, okay.
Queens, you're there, my partner. Listen, Queens, if you said it is my belief that this is the reason, and of course, Mr. Weeks has denied that. But if you have gone around and canvassed the various journalists and asked them, why haven't you measured? And they've told you, it's because of Mr. Weeks' comments. Well, okay. But you can't come and say that is the reason.
Yeah,
I mean, they could tell you that's not the reason, and that could be the reason. Not because they tell you.
You can't come. But you can't come and say that is the reason. You're expressing.
I can give my opinion.
That's the point.
Why I believe that
that's the point.
I can't do that.
But listen. But you're presenting an opinion because you have a beef with Weeks, and basically you want to push your beef with Weeks. But you shouldn't really do that.
I can be wrong in my session, but I have a right to give my opinion.
But you are wrong. I know that's the reason.
Anyway,
I know you're very wrong.
Anyway, my friend.
No, let me just say now. Wait 30 seconds.
Cecil, can I
hold on?
just say something before he goes off?
My friend, hold on. You can't be allowed to be speaking over the rest of us. Just hold on.
Cecil, I would like to say something. I don't want to say it in his absence.
Yeah.
I would like to say something before he goes off. And maybe when I say it, I may not be invited to come back to this program.
No. That's
but I want to say to that guy, and Dr. Thompson, I think is correct. I notice he follows me around and very often misquoting me as though he expects to set other persons on me for whatever reason. I want to say to him, this guy, with all of these different names, that is an indication of who he is. All of these different names publicly, that I don't love men. So don't follow me around. All right?
All right, my friend. My friend.
Not because.
My friend. Yeah. Well,
let me just. I'm not going to respond to Weeks.
But I want to tell you.
Yeah.
We welcome you on the program, but bear in mind, always, you don't control the running of the program. So be mindful and be respectful of others who are on the program and other listeners.
He not respectful of me, Mr. Weeks. But let me just wrap up now. I say that not because they did not publish it last week. That don't mean they can't publish it 2 or 3 weeks from now, because they do that sometimes. Sometimes they don't publish things right away. They may wait 2 or 3 weeks to publish it. That's all I got to say. Have a good day.
All right.
Yeah, I say
Yes, Bongo Shaka.
all these content just kind of spirit because I don't see what fullness of his discussion pertain to what Mr. Weeks said or whatever. There's nothing substantial that's coming out of it. I love things to edify people and these people want with the personality attacks and all. I don't do it on radio, Cecil. I do not do it for the 20-some years I'm radio since the inception of the radio station program. I don't know why people just pick on them to cause a distraction and take care of your vibes, what you want, because things was flowing so nice and everything.
Well, don't worry. Don't get overwhelmed by what he said. That just recognize it as a social media moment, and let's move on from there.
Brother Thompson, I agree with you with the geothermal. A couple of Sundays ago, I was tying it into the geothermal in Dominica. Also, St. Lucia have some hot springs and this and that, and they're looking to generate electricity there also, right? But my thing is sometimes that when these things do in projection and they do occur, I don't see the effect that affect people in this good way or they lessen the bill. I remember throughout the years when we had...
Bongo Shaka, could you hold a minute? I want to take a call alongside yours on a WhatsApp call. Good morning. Welcome to the program. Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Somebody is on the other line in parallel simultaneously while you're on. But yes, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning to you.
I'm so happy Mr. Weeks put that guy in place.
Let's not make him the focus of our conversation this morning.
No, but Cecil, but at that time somebody put Miss Queens on his place by going around causing confusion. He doing that all the time to every radio station he do. It's time for somebody put a stop to him. He's a big man, he's not a child. And he can't be going on this program and then go on the next program to create problems. You need to stop it. Okay?
Well, I hope he's listening and hearing you.
Mr. Weeks, I'm happy you do that. Mr. Thompson, you know him well. Mr. Thompson, you know him well. So, I'm glad you could put him up. But tomorrow morning, you're going to call on WFM to talk about it.
Well, I'll be there. You know what I mean? So we can handle it. But no, I still consider him my friend.
Do you remember the late Dr. Eric Williams, Trinidad? He made a statement once. You remember the statement?
No, I don't remember this.
Something about donkey braying and let them pray.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, let's leave it at that. So just leave that as that.
All right, Mr. Weeks, glad to hear you, Mr. Weeks. Mr. Weeks, you know who's speaking?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
All right, okay.
I'll have to find out from Mr. Weeks. I'll get it from Mr. Weeks who it is. But thanks for calling, my friend, and have a good day.
If we tune into the program tomorrow, we'll see.
All right. Okay, all right.
All right.
Good. Take care. Yes, Bongo Shaka, you're still there. You're still there.
Yeah, if you're in maturity, right? And you're a mature person, obviously when you're a man, behave as a man. You're a child, you behave as a child. So a different stage in life. And when you're having programs like such, right? If you don't have something edifying or constructive to speak or join in, it don't matter that you want to be every program you have been seeing Gwendine, like you're looking for popularity or whatever. I don't look for fame or popularity, but I try to do whatever research I could impart on the nation or people that's listening. Because I'm seeing it when people meet me, they will say, I love what you and Cecil discuss, Bongo, as usual. You very edifying and so on, and keep up your work or whatever. People who never met I before will just introduce themselves to me, maybe in certain areas or whatever. They hear me speak and recognize my voice or whatever. But I'm saying that for years we must stop use radio for personality conflict. I know there's a vice or you're showing out pointers at Mr. Weeks and so on. I've been listening, but I don't get in personality conflict with people on radio. But I love to discipline people. I think one must have more discipline when you speak to matters that we are discussing. Speak to something that they even somebody record you and strengthen us, man.
Yes. All right. So let's leave that there and go on.
Just one last point. Yeah.
Just the last point.
I think there's a dynamic. There's the radio personalities. There's the callers who call in, and then there's the journalists.
Okay.
And there's a dynamic because at any point in time, what the journalists may write may be incorrect, they've misinterpreted, or they may get it correct.
Mm-hmm.
And the persons who call in may have an opinion, but it doesn't mean their opinion is right. But they feel my opinion should be respected, but it's sometimes wrong. And then the radio persons who are on the radio speaking, whether as a guest or a host like yourself and so forth, they too can often have their own issues. You know what I mean? And so there's a dynamic there. And I think, you know, there's some person who say controversy helps. You throw a spark inside there, you throw a bomb, a grenade inside there, it's going to increase listenership. And so I don't know if that's the case, you know. And, so I just get something like that.
Kojo is trying to call us.
Yeah,
Kojo, call us now. Bongo Shaka is still there, right? And Lansford, come in anytime you feel you want to make any comment, Lansford.
Cecil, I'm listening. That's what I love to do best.
Okay. So I'm sorry, Bongo Shaka.
Yeah, I'm looking for a response by Dr. Thompson pertaining to like enhancing our electricity production, because I think throughout the years we have seen where gas and fuel from Venezuela and so on, but we didn't see much effect in our pockets, in our home or in businesses, and the hegemony of the Americans in these.
I'm going to take Kojo while we listen to you.
Yeah, Ambassador.
Kojo, greetings.
Greetings. I just called to tell you all I went to my first BC day.
Hold on. You don't speak too much into the mic because it sounds muffled. Into the phone, yeah. It sounds kind of pull away a little bit and let's hear you with more clarity.
Okay, let me. Is that still better?
Marginally better, but if you can do it,
maybe he's on a speakerphone, Cecil.
Oh, you're on a speakerphone. No, don't do that. Speak on the phone itself. Don't speak on speakerphone. You will get the feedback. That's what's happening. Just speak into the phone.
I'll probably have to hang up and call back.
No, just take off the speaker function.
It's not that easy to change over.
Okay, all right. Well, call us back then. We'd love to hear about your enjoyment at the Vinci picnic.
I want to see him Cecil in a short pants on the beach and see hanging.
Kojo, are you still there? You're hearing that, right?
I hear him.
Oh, when you call back, we'd hear you with greater clarity. Okay. Yes, Bongo Shaka, you were talking to talking about go ahead.
Electricity, geothermal and so forth. Yeah, so Dr. Dan, I haven't seen it much, because sometimes these war escalate, fuel price goes up, and Donald Trump and them are playing a game with these prices and so on, and fuel. So it goes up, it come down, it goes up, it come down. But as I say, throughout the years, and men are finding more fuel and oil, but we know the hegemony of what's happening with the United States and these Arab countries and so on, right? But I'm not seeing it. So I could pray today that if we have enhancing all these geothermal or the solar energies, that we can see the effect in our pocket.
All right, so Bongo Shaka, so we'd have to bring back Thornley sometime soon to talk about the whole question of energy. I'll do that. I'll work on that. In the meantime, I want to let somebody else come in.
Yeah, man. Let me hang up and ease a while and listen and
Yes. All right then. Thanks.
Cecil,
yes.
While you wait, I want to go back to.
Before you do, let me just take Kojo because he has been waiting for a long time, and I'll come back. Kojo, welcome back.
Yes. Is it better now?
Slightly, but go ahead. We'll see. Go ahead.
I'm not on speakerphone or anything like that. I guess because I have a little hole in my throat. It might be.
No,
I
it
don't know if
sounds
that's-
better. It sounds much better, really.
Okay. Yeah, I went to my first Vinci picnic, and Bongo Shaka is not nowhere close to the beach.
Okay. So you went to the first Vinci picnic where?
No, his first.
No, I know. You went to your first Vinci picnic where?
Here in Brooklyn, New York.
Uh-huh.
Well, it was actually in Long Island. The picnic is in Long Island, but it's, you know, it was very, should I say, bit of political and not political, because the information gathered is that a lot of people didn't like the new organization, and they didn't show up for that. And then there was another portion of it where the ICE issue was a problem, where people think that ICE might have been committed to wrongs of people, and so a lot of people didn't go. A lot of people didn't come to the thing. In all, it was well attended in a sense. I mean, most people say it was small compared to the time, but I can't compare that because this was my first. So
okay,
and Children Park, I have to say, it's something that Vincent need to take part, put aside all political differences, because it's a time when you meet and greet people who you haven't seen in years. Because I meet schoolmates who I haven't seen in 20 years. You know what I mean? Some of them they come up to me and say hi, and you don't even remember them. It's like, so I mean, I think this is a plea I'm putting out, that people should attend the Vinci picnic. Put aside all political differences, you know, regardless to what.
Did you say earlier that it was a new organization? Is that what did you say that?
No, because Luther.
No, but I'm asking, did you say it was a new organization?
Yeah,
you said that
because it comes out of the Consul General offices. So the new Consul General is
Matthews, right? So
right. So it was Luther last year, and so, and then a lot of people who probably was in the organization with Luther did not show up.
Oh, I see. So the Consul General is central to the organization of the picnic.
Yeah, because I think the picnic comes out of the Consul General office.
Okay, understood.
Yeah. So,
but I thought there was a kind of a permanent, non-political, non-partisan connected.
I think the committee says so.
Sorry.
Yeah,
but Lansford, hold on, Kojo. Lansford, sorry.
Yeah.
I was saying that I think that the impression I have is that there's a Vinci Day committee that is non-governmental. I'm surprised.
That's I had to as well.
Yeah, but I guess I'm saying it's non-governmental, but the organization is made up of people with political differences, and so a lot of the people who were under Luther apparently didn't want to work under Matthews. So that's what I gather, you know. Because my sister is still working. She was under Luther. She's still there, and there's another guy. He is still there. So, but there's people who I've seen before in terms of pictures who was part of the organization. I didn't see them around. You know.
Is it part of the organization or part of the organizing? Kojo?
Who helped organize the picnic?
Right. Okay.
You know, because even though coming out of the office of the AC, I think the organization that's that govern a lot of the St. Vincent organization here, so they normally come together and help put it together because they know everybody in Brooklyn and they know all the organization outside of Brooklyn too, so I'm just saying if people who didn't show up because of political reasons, I think they need to just put that aside and just come out as Vincentian and do something for St. Vincent, not because of political differences. That's all I was saying. But I enjoy myself.
Okay.
And in terms of Lansford, you're not the only person that's get attacked from the same brother. So don't.
Yeah, but that doesn't justify he coming on the program and targeting
but
people.
he always misquote. He always misquoting people.
So he ought to know that he ought to be respectful and be factual when he comes on any program, any radio program. Certainly this one.
He did that to me one Sunday when you and I was on the program, Cecil. Came to say I said something that I didn't say. You know? And somehow he just heard it different. I apparently heard what I said differently. It seemed like I heard what we said differently. So, you know, or he has a perceived idea in his head what he think we should be saying, and that's why he comes out and think that we said. So, you know.
Kojo, I don't want to carry on this too long. But this is a man who sits down in his house and calls into every program across St. Vincent. Very often going on to the internet, picking up some facts and come on to relate them as though he had experience in these things. I don't have any problem with anybody challenging anything I have said. I don't have any problem with anybody criticizing me. When I do commentary on the radio, I criticize and I expect to be criticized as well. But when it appears as though you simply sit down and wait that every time I speak, as though you want to silence me, you go round to every radio program that you have access to say what weeks say and what weeks didn't say. And most times misquoting me, expecting the public to jump on me. That is why I responded this morning. Generally, I don't respond to criticisms because I criticize, I criticize heavily, and I expect to be criticized as well.
And I understand that too. I mean, even on the picnic day, you'll be surprised to know how much people actually listen to this program. This program is well listened to, in America.
Okay.
Last Sunday, I heard you this Sunday,
No, I'm asking you. No. But how do you know this program is well listened to? You said even at the picnic. How do you know that? You interacted with people at the picnic? At the picnic?
Yeah, and they tell me. They say they listen to me, they hear me. So I mean, for them to hear me, they have to be listening, right?
No, I'm not doubting what you're saying. I just want to.
No. I'm just making light of it in terms of
in your judgment, a lot of people listen. A lot of people listen to the programs.
Your program has a wide audience, wide audience, I should say.
All right.
And
well, this call has been fairly clear this morning. The reception with you. So whatever you did, make sure you do the same thing when you call on Monday tomorrow. When you call BFM tomorrow on the program tomorrow to talk with Dr. Thompson, Activated Morning. Make sure you do the same thing. I don't know what you did, but it was very clear. Your voice is very clear this morning. No.
All right.
Almost perfect.
Okay.
And I used to be a song to mix at one point, so I can tell you.
Okay. Gongo Shankar, thanks for the big up.
All right, Kojo.
Cecil, if I can just make one final statement with respect to the Win Calendar report.
Yes.
And Bongo Shaka spoke about it, the Dominica situation where a policeman was arrested and charged with murder, I think. what comes out of that report to me is the senior policeman who spoke in the report. And what is clear, what they said very clearly, is that they had intelligence. In other words, they got some information. They monitor. So they got information, they monitor, and as a result, they were able to convert that intelligence, that information, into evidence. And this is something I have been calling on our police force in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to do. Very often I comment on the work of the police, not because I hate any policeman or I hate it. I have a lot of respect for police and the work that they do. But I think that their work is so important to our society that we must always be looking at them. And sometimes when I sit to them, it's not so much criticism, but it's encouragement. And I think our police force needs to take a lead on that, because too often I hear in this small country, senior policemen come and talk about gangs and gangs and gangs in St. Vincent. And I ask myself, what are they doing to monitor the folks who they are accusing of belonging to gangs? You may not be able to charge them for the murder that you are indicating that they were involved in or they were a part of, the cause, whatever. But you may or should be able to charge them for other things, and you should be able to charge them for things that they can be put away for a very long time. Sometimes as long as they will be put away if they are convicted for murder. I hope our police force can take a lead from their colleagues in Dominica. Because in my opinion, that's what in these small countries, that's what we should be doing. Getting information and attempting to turn it into evidence by doing monitoring. And I believe it is much easier to do in these small countries than in the larger countries like the US, where it is done as second nature.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Thompson, any?
No, I just love Mr. Weeks's, hard-hitting statement there. I think that's one for the ages. Weeks, you know what I mean? I know you say it's one for the ages. Your response to I'm still relishing it.
But the interesting thing is coming out from actual experience. I mean, the Dominica police, as we heard from Wynn's report, and the Minister of National Security, both of them spoke, and the police reported exactly what they did, and they were successful. So it's out of that successful experience that I think, and I agree with Lansford, he's saying that our police folks here, I hope they were listening. Well, I'm sure they may have exchanged information with the Dominica. The Dominica police may have exchanged information with them. So hope they could learn from that and, implement that kind of practice. I think I certainly agree with Lansford. And it's a positive suggestion, very positive. Yeah. So yes. On the question of the point about the picnic that Kojo introduced, there are a few reactions. One is saying this is not correct, meaning what Kojo said about it being something originating at the council. This Vinci picnic was founded by Soka Jones, but it is supported usually by the consulate. I suspect that Luther's personality pulled a lot of participation but the picnic is organized by a non-partisan group, which is now headed by Atiba Williams. So there you go. Okay. People want to know what T.B. Williams is, but that's the and this person saying, morning, all of the Vincentian picnic committee members or picnic committees are non-governmental, non-political. Politics is not allowed in any decision making. People will see politics in anything. They are non-political. They are up until 3 a.m. in the morning with meetings, plus full-time jobs. Please try joining Please try joining the association so that you can contribute and see how they work. So those are two responses to Kojo's observation, and that he thought was the case, and he shared with us. So Kojo, there you go. All right. So yes. Oh, and somebody, I just realized here now, somebody is sharing, my good buddy and colleague and comrade, sharing a reaction to me on my personal phone. Actually, he was trying to call my phone, but he should have called the station phone to say this. This is what, well, before I do, there's a call coming in, so I'll take it and then come back to the message. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, all. Just put my little way in here. I didn't attend the picnic yesterday because I'm not in New York anymore. But I want to say that picnic, even before Luther got there, the picnic was huge. I remember the very, very first year, we had it rained that day, and we had close to 5,000 people out there. And I did a video personally. And for the second year, they used my video to promote it. The second year, maybe over 10,000 people were there. So I don't think, I think it's way before Luther got there, that picnic was big. But what I saw yesterday was kind of scanty. A lot of people not in Vinci shirts. And I was kind of surprised.
But hold on, were you there on the spot yesterday?
No, I watched it. I watched it live.
Oh, it was
somebody to send me a link.
Oh, okay. So it was
Yeah, it was on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, I mentioned one of the guys in the committee, and they sent it to me. So I attended almost all of them prior to me leaving New York, and used to have massive crowds out there.
Could you hold a minute? Somebody's trying to call us on the same WhatsApp. I can't take that person now. I know who the person is. But are you finished?
No, the caller. I want to ask this caller. Okay. Can you?
I'm going to finish, but I mean, I just wanted something with
But before you do, Dr. Thompson has a question.
I want to call. Well, you're right. I've had the opportunity to attend about 2 of these Vinci picnics. I think I attended the first one. I'd already left New York. And you're right, it depends a lot on the various organizations participating, and I know Soka Jones did quite a lot. First of all, Soka Jones worked with Selman Walters to really get this off the ground.
Hold a minute, let me take a call.
I wanted to put a question to him.
I know, but he's still there. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the parallel line.
Yes. Okay, yeah.
But go ahead.
Let me say, do you think what Kojo said, that the threat of ICE may have been a factor, and is a factor wherever you are in the United States now, whether in New York, would consider sanctuary city, or elsewhere? Do you think that is a big threat that will encourage people not to come out?
I think so. I mean, since the ICE thing come on, a lot of organizations have things they don't want to turn up because they're scared. So I think it could do with that too. Because like I said, I attended maybe the first 6, 7 of them, and there used to be a lot of people, And what I observed yesterday wasn't. I was quite taken back. Like I said, a lot of people were there. There wasn't even the Vinci color, and to me, that is where you show all your Vinci thing, your T-shirt, whatever. Have the stage up in Vinci stuff, and I didn't see a lot of that yesterday. You know, You see different Vinci colors there. I see a few in Vinci, most of them had the same kind of t-shirt on, but normally have all different kind of colors of Vinci you can find. But yeah, the crowd wasn't there for me, what I saw anyway. All right, but
thanks a lot.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something on Queens, but then we'll leave it because
No.
you
We're not going back on. No, we're not going back on that.
Nah.
Let's
I know
move
I'm not
on.
going there.
But go ahead, finish up.
Yeah, you like to criticize. All right, but anyway,
Thanks.
that's my take. But things were there before Luther got there.
All right,
I guess
then.
Luther probably put a more injection into it. But yeah, all right. Take
Thanks
it easy.
a lot for coming.
All right.
All right. Somebody. Okay, no, I think he's calling now.
What?
Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Ryan.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon, sorry. I just wake up.
Oh, okay.
I'm a member. My name is Miss Goodluck. You're familiar with my husband, correct?
Of course, very much. I just sent him a
Yes.
message to ask him to call. He sent a
okay, I've been
message. I
trying
was
to
going to
call.
read it, but yes. So go ahead.
Thanks for accepting my call.
Of
I've been a member of Vinci Day from 2012 when we started. We are a non-political organization. We started because, yes, the gentleman is right. Junior Sokojon, to his credit, he basically kicked down the door of every council general requesting to have such a picnic after visiting Toronto's picnic. And he felt, rightfully so, that New York have one of the largest contingency of Vincentians outside of St. Vincent and Grenadines. The only council general that listened to his cry was Selman Waters of blessed memories. If it weren't for Selman Waters, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So he was the one who stopped and listened and put something in place. He purposely put it in place where it's non-political. The only political person allowed to address Vinci Day is the council general that's sitting at the time, whether you're ULP or NDP. We try to keep politics out of it, okay? I've been with them from 2012 to present. Yes, our numbers fell from the beginning for two factors. Number one, after COVID, our numbers dipped. We used to boast 10,000, 12,000 people. After COVID, we staggered between 5 and 8. Yesterday, I would say that the numbers would be about the same as it was last year. Okay? To address the issue of presidency, Tiba Williams is not our president.
Oh, okay.
The chairperson for Vinci Day USA, his name is Raymond Otis Lewis. That's our president.
Okay.
To address the membership of Ms. Jones, with all due respect, she participated with us. She sang the album anthem with us over time. And she's, an honorary member, as we put it that way, okay? Ms. Haywood is never also a member of Vinci Day. Her husband was invited to be a member of Vinci Day. And I believe after the first or the second event, he wrote an article and applauding us for the effort. And he ended by saying, if we continue this path, it will be no place but up for us. And we have since expanded, patrons as far as attendance to this day. So he was correct in his writing, okay? So I just need to clarify those things. And for the people who knows how Vinci Day started, for the people who agree it's a non-political organization, yes, that's what we are, a non-political organization. We raise funds through fundraising and sponsorship. So this year, CDC reached out to us for sponsorship to collaborate with us for the road of 2027 Vinci Mass. Hence the reason why they were here. So to promote Mr. Williams as our chairperson, that's not so.
All right.
That's absolutely not so. Okay, so that's
Cecil.
Well,
secondly, the attendance, and before I finish,
Yes.
as far as attendance, and the person is right. Outside of COVID, there's quite a few people we have here that's undocumented, and rightfully so. They don't want to come into that public because we never know what's going to happen or when it's going to happen. We don't want to put these people in those positions. You don't want people to be embarrassed. A lot of people among us, we don't know who's documented, who's not documented. That's not something you're going to share. I'm personally wouldn't share if it was me, because you never know who you're sitting around. Most recently, we had an incident where one of our members of Vincentian was deported, picked up by ICE, and that sent a shockwave through our communities. So people is going to scale back. So the attendance and a lack of us not doing what we're doing, but people's personal preferences and the decision that they have to make to protect themselves.
All right, so good luck. Hold on, don't go, Lansford,
Okay.
yes. Lansford.
Sister, thank you. I want to thank Mrs. Goodluck for providing the clarification. It's very important when we do these things. But I have a question. I don't know if she's at liberty to divulge the level of support that she got. The organization got from the state of St. Vincent.
You mean this year or?
Yes, this year.
This year.
She mentioned CDC, which is a part of the state, reach out and provided some support. So I'm asking if she's at liberty to divulge the level of support that they got in terms of finances.
Well, we receive sponsorship from them. The finances are without the approval of the entire body. I listen to Sizzle every Sunday, so this is why I have to jump in. I just gotten up from yesterday's event, but I'm not going to divulge the financial amount, but we did receive financial support in the form of sponsorship.
And that is quite okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I thank you sincerely for clarifying the issues.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Goodluck, one of the things Kojo said when he spoke is that this program is widely listened to in New York. Is that your experience and observation as well?
I can't speak to that.
Okay.
Because I'm not out in the listening community or the political community like maybe my husband would be. You know, when they hang out with the men, they talk certain things.
Okay.
But I know I do listen to you. I know a few people listen to you, but I'm not so sure how far reach your audience is. So I can't really speak on that.
All right. Well, we appreciate you calling in today. We should do it more often on other matters, other issues. And we'd love to hear from you.
It's hard to get in. This is my first time calling. I really appreciate you taking the call, but I've tried a few times on other topics that you have raised that are near and dear to me, especially when it comes to certain health issues. And you did one recently with mental health, and the young lady was very good with her information, but I didn't get to it. But it's okay. And one thing to underscore too, we are also not for profit. Okay, so there's no financial gain to any of us who participate in this event and part of the organization. Every penny raised, whether by sponsorship or fundraising, it goes right back to paying the parks department and all the vendors that we utilize in the park for, like the porta potty, the games for the children, the dumpsters to cart the garbage out, the person who provide the stage, the sound, and the jumbotron, etc., etc., etc. So nothing goes into our pocket. Everything goes right back out to, as it comes in the left hand, it goes back out in our right hand.
All of that sounds like hard work that you guys do.
It is a lot of work,
Yes.
but most of us, we enjoy what we're doing because it's fun for us to see so many of us gather in one place, having fun. This year, I must also quickly highlight, we had a gentleman from St. Vincent who owns a cleaning company. Most of his workers are non-Vincentian. So I was just speaking to him earlier for his feedback with the transportation that he came into and his workers. And he shared with us that his workers were impressed with what we were doing. They were doing their work, and when they had a lunch break, they were invited to eat. You could eat with anybody. And he said his staff said they were running away from food, and they couldn't believe how hospitable our people are. So much so that a group of them were playing dominoes and invited them to play domino with them. Like, he had to tell them, you have to go back to work. But they were just impressed with what we are doing and how it's being done, that everybody share whatever they have without selling anything in the park. So that's something to, speak volume as to the work that we're doing. And, we're on the right track.
And Vince's love their food.
Of course they love the food. They have more food than people to eat out there.
And they love to share their food. That's a tradition a tradition from way back, I remember in my days growing up, we used to have to take plate of food to the neighbor and the family, and they in turn would send back a plate or something. It's from
And
that.
that's the concept. That's the concept on which we have this, because other countries have their day. Grenada has their day, Guyana, Barbados, and they vend. They have vendors on their premises, where they rent their spaces. So you go in, you pay some money to go in, and you have to go in and buy everything. That's not what we wanted. That's what makes us unique and different from the other countries who have in their day.
Oh, so you're in the Vinci case, it's a matter of just sharing the food.
Just sharing the food. Yes.
I can tell you something.
Yes.
Sister, that's so true. I turned up and I had.
That's the voice of Dr. Thompson.
Yes, I had 3 plates.
Yes, I recognize
I had
the voice.
3 plates of food in different locations. And I took the food because I didn't want to refuse or give an impression I was going to refuse. But I tell you, all 3 plates were just absolutely wonderful. You know,
It's right.
great. It's great.
It's right. Dr. Thompson, you're so correct. You know, and the staff, they were right. The cleaning staff, you have to run it from food. I went to I'm always at the gate, so I never know what's going on as far as the stage activities inside. So I'm always at the gate. I'm on the gatekeeper. But when you go to sit at the table, they had more food on the table than anything. Like, who all this food come from? You can only eat but so much food. Seriously, you can only eat but so much food. But that's just the love and the camaraderie and part of our culture. We share what we have with everyone. And it was also great to see people you haven't seen for a very long time. We had 2 buses from Philadelphia, 1 from Massachusetts, and organization within New York City. They also came with their buses as a fundraiser. We also have people drive in from Canada, drove up from Maryland, flew in from Florida. You know, so wherever Vincentians are, come up from Atlanta as well. Wherever Vincentians are, they come to this particular event. And some people book their vacation around this. But there's Vincentians that's here on vacation that was also there at the picnic.
All right. Sounds exciting. Well, Mrs.
I
Goodluck.
hope you can join us next year, Mr.
I'll consider it.
Yes. See for yourself and be the judge of that.
Yes. And I hope other people will as well, from all over the world, not only from the tri-state area or Canada or Kojo out in California coming back. But even Weezy, I know Weezy lives in England. Maybe he can lead a delegation. Not a delegation, but you know what I mean, a party.
Yes.
All right.
That'd be great.
Thanks a lot again.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah. Well, Coach made a call and it turned into a very interesting interaction. Yes, Lansford?
Yes, Cecil, remember we have Dr. Thompson. I know that Dr. Thompson has been making the rounds, doing really good work in health education. And I suspect that's one, if not the only reason, that's one of the reasons why he's here today. And really ought to give him the opportunity to speak.
Yes, and I noticed that Weezy is coming in. Weezy, you'll have to call back. I'm sorry, because we have to hear from Dr. Thompson and we'll take you afterwards. Yes, so Dr. Thompson,
yes,
this troubling bacteria that find its presence at the Milton Cato Hospital. What can you tell?
Let me say, as Lansford said, I have been on a few programs, and you know, some persons may be hearing this for the second, maybe the third time.
That's all right.
But repetition, I think, sometimes helps and reaches those persons who are a different audience from one program to another. And I want to take the opportunity to say that health is something that we worry about when we too often get sick. And the prevention of disease is not taken as seriously as it should by many of us. But people in healthcare, you know, prevention is so much better than cure. You know, now I say that to say that long ago, matter of fact, for the better part of even the 19th century, the vast majority of death came from infectious diseases. And that has shifted. In more developed countries, death is now coming from what we call non-cancer communicable. Non-infectious diseases such as what we call the NCDs, diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, cancer, arthritis, those sort of things, now Alzheimer's. But if you are unlucky to have a combination of both NCDs plus you encounter infectious diseases, that's not the best outcome either. Now, we all know what's called germs. They're all around us. And germs can be bacteria. We know of viruses. With COVID, we learned a lot about viruses during the time of COVID, but there's also fungus and parasites. And we, over the years, we never used to have it. We used to rely on certain plants, but we now have had, over the last, I would say, 100 or so years, the intervention of antibiotics, medicines that's been purified that can help to kill bacteria, that can help to kill funguses, that can help to kill parasites. Now, we don't seem to have good antibiotics that can kill viruses, but bacteria are the main things that we are worried about. And I got to start off by saying that in the 1930, where penicillin was first discovered, it didn't go into full effect because people thought, in the medical world, they said, that's crazy. There's no such thing as antibiotics. They never heard about that before. And in 1930, there wasn't as much there was never social media, there was never the internet, so in those days. So communication didn't take place. But in World War II, that's when penicillin started to be used, helping to prevent gangrene and so. And it was reported that in 1950, the average lifespan was anywhere around 50 years old. And with the intervention of penicillin as an antibiotic, so not antibiotics, lifespan increased miraculously by 7 to 10 years. Because people who had strep throat, people who had rheumatic fever, people who had these kind of conditions, people who had syphilis and gonorrhea, who died as a result of these things, penicillin was now able to treat. Unfortunately, we then started seeing resistance because penicillin was being used like holy water. It's been given for everything, a cure-all. Yes, Sam? And over the years, one of the things the penicillin and other antibiotics have been given for is for a cold, a viral infection, anything like that. And that's been the wrong thing. Now, I say all this as background because when it comes to bacteria, we have bacteria everywhere on the surface, on the surface of your glasses, on your skin, in your mouth, in your stool, there's a whole ton of bacteria. And these bacteria, we consider some of them as being good bacteria. They're yours. They could live with you. They're part of your own germs. And your body's defense mechanism teams up with them to make sure that they're the ones that you retain, and they help to protect you from the invasion by other bad germs. I'm telling you, there are bad germs out there. You may have heard about a germ called E. coli. And the vast majority of E. coli are simple things that are easy to treat. It's fine. In our intestine, we got a whole set of E. coli inside there. But then there's some bad boy E. coli, some ones that are sometimes resistant, some that are releasing all kind of other toxins and so forth, And there are other germs, one of them called Actinobacter, that, E. coli loves wet environment. Actinobacter loves more drier environments. They love a little wet too, but mainly dry. And you can distinguish between these type of germs. Now, over the years, we've had problems with many germs, E. coli, and Actinobacter. Sometime in the 80s and 90s, with the excessive use of antibiotics, started to emerge as something we worried about. And it started becoming more resistant to some of the well-known antibiotics. And then it started becoming resistant to the more powerful antibiotics. Let me go with that. So we've talked a little bit about bacteria. The antibiotics, we have different types of them. And when a germ develops resistance to one type, we go to the higher grade. And when it develops resistance to those higher grade, we go to the super higher grade. And there's a class of antibiotic called the carbapenems. We reserve those when we want to really get at an antibiotic, at a germ that is resistant. And for many years, while practicing in the United States as an infectious disease, we were the only ones allowed to use these carbapenems, one called imipenem, right? And if a doctor went and wrote on it, the pharmacy wouldn't release it. You had to get a consultation from an infectious disease doctor to prescribe it. And that, as it became more popular and so forth, the pharmacy started to relax on it. And the germs, like E. coli, like Salmonella, like I mentioned some names, Pseudomonas. Some people may be familiar with some of these things. Your last caller, Miss Goodluck, I'm sure she's familiar with those things. And then this Actinobacter started developing resistance in 1985 across there. The first case in Scotland. And then over, I would say, a period of about 15 years, this resistant Actinobacter germ started spreading all over the world. And today, some of the highest incidence of resistance with Actinobacter is in the Mediterranean, in Southeast Asia. And they've come up with this terminology called CRAB. And the terminology is simple. CRAB, which I must say has nothing to do with crab lice and anything like that. All it means is carbapenem, which is an antibiotic, is resistant. And then the name of the germ, Actinobacter brumani, CRAB. And luckily, the Caribbean for many years has been relatively spared, but in South America, Venezuela and Colombia have had high cases. Some of the only regions we haven't seen very high incidence is Canada, but in certain states in the United States, high incidence. But the Mediterranean, Southeast Asia, and Europe have had high incidence. I mean, certain parts of Southeast Asia.
Of the same bacteria.
Of the same bacteria. Mm-hmm. And largely, this is because over the years, we have used antibiotics freely. I'm not just talking about penicillin, but we've used some of the middle potent antibiotics and the high potent and the super high potent. We've started using them so indiscriminately that for some antibiotics, when persons are given a prescription, they only take the medication for 3 or 4 days. They feel better and they don't take it for the 7 days or the 10 days that they are prescribed. So that some of the germs, most of the germs are killed, but some of them are only weakened. And those weaker ones, they don't go away. They stay dormant, but they start to learn that antibiotic weakened me, but I'm gonna become strong again. And this time I will know how to avoid that. Some of these germs have developed special mechanisms of how to break down the antibiotic. They can release enzymes that break down the antibiotic so that it's not as effective as it should be, or different ways of, through genetic mutations, of being able to avoid being killed by the antibiotic. So once again, in this case, we have CRAB, carbapenem resistant Actinobacter baumannii. But I could tell you about many other type of germs. Some E. coli that are very resistant. Some salmonella that are now infecting chicken and eggs that are resistant and could cause illness. There's something called MRSA, staph, there's flesh-eating strep. All some of these things can be very resistant, and worst of all, we have things like tuberculosis, some of which are very resistant now to the antibiotics we have. And in addition, there's malaria, parasites. We used to use certain type of things in the past. Now we have to use very sophisticated medication to kill the malaria and keep it down and save people from it. The long and short of it is that there have been some previous reports of CRAB, this germ, been reported in several other Caribbean islands. I'm not going to mention the name of those islands, right? They haven't been publicized. And recently, there's been a report of it being found here in St. Vincent. Now, I must say that in the 80s and the 90s, the World Health Organization developed, noting all this growing resistance, developed something called AMR. It's a system where the lab, we have a great lab at the Milton K. Memorial Hospital, that they must do surveillance testing, right? And in about 2013, PAHO came in and did a lot of training of the people in our lab how to do this AMR. And what they've been doing is they've been constantly testing our surveillance, making sure that these highly resistant germs, like what I've mentioned to you, the E. coli's and the Actinobacter and that they don't creep in and we don't know about it. So that the detection of these 4 cases is as a result of good monitoring techniques that have been introduced over the last 6 to 10 years that basically are able to pick these things up early so that a stitch in time can save 9. Now, this germ, CRAB, it is very resistant, but there's still some antibiotics we always have in reserve that can kill it. You understand? And whenever the CRAB is detected, you have to know how it really manifests itself. In some cases, it tends to infect a wound. So somebody who's a diabetic who has amputation, it can affect there. Someone who's in an intensive care unit, a catheter, where the drip line is going into somebody's neck or into somebody's arm, that site can become infected.
So it has to be an open wound.
This particular, the wound is what I call a non-healing wound.
Okay.
A wound that's trying to heal, but it likes also to affect catheters, both going into a vein and also a tube going into your lungs. What we call from a ventilator. So somebody's in an intensive care unit and a machine is doing the breathing for them. You have to be careful that these germs don't affect those particular type of sites, because later on, the germ could filter down into the lung and cause pneumonia. And you don't want that.
Are you in a position to say what is the situation with these 4 cases? That
Yes. So in these 4 cases, they are just wound infection.
And they're still being monitored.
And they're still being monitored. What they would have happened, they would have been put into isolation. They would have been put into their own rooms. And where they were, the whole area would have been scrubbed down with disinfectant. And in the rooms that they're in, a protocol would have been set up. A protocol developed by the World Health Organization and PAHO of people going in, how you go in, what kind of gloves you wear, what kind of gowns you wear, and so forth. And when you're coming back out, you leave everything inside there, and you're coming out, so you're not bringing out the germ. But the room inside there is also going to be repeatedly disinfected and so forth, so that if that patient is discharged, somebody going into that room will not then be affected. And the lab will be monitoring and checking swabs to make sure that the germ is not detected anywhere else. So to an extent, St. Vincent is fairly okay in that it's just wound infection. It's not an infection, let's say, in your intensive care unit. And it's not infections that affect in drips and so forth at this particular point in time. And that I think they've moved relatively quickly by picking this up to make sure that's the case. Now, there's something I must say. This germ, crab, tends to affect persons whose immune system isn't at its best. And we classify those people as diabetics, persons who are very sick, persons who have some immunocompromise. Now, it doesn't mean that if somebody is an elderly person or if somebody is a visitor, that they will pick this up. Not at all. Your body's defense mechanisms, your own bacteria on your skin will, or in your mouth, will help to prevent these germs from taking hold and colonizing you, And that's more or less what really takes place. So I think that on one hand, people could raise an alarm. Oh my gosh, the sky is falling. Yes, but this is a problem that has existed for a number of decades now around the world and is continuing, and that
so this present situation is not necessarily a recent development.
You see, because they have now picked it up, I would say it is a recent development for St. Vincent, but it's not a recent development for the world.
It's not a new bacteria.
It's not a new bacteria by any means. I've been in back in St. Vincent now for approaching 25 years.
I thought it was 100 years.
Yes. And I remember my first case of crab in the United States. I'm talking about 1994, 95, and, it was no big alarm and so forth. We just, the doctor wanted a consultation from me. I'm an infectious disease specialist, and yes, well, we got crab.
But did those persons eventually recover?
So those persons, now they did recover because of a stitching time saving.
Right, okay.
If this was a case of somebody with a crab pneumonia, right, or where the catheter is infected and is causing germs to float around the blood and causing sepsis, there have been poor outcomes in those cases. But if it's a wound infection, right, where the wound has become either colonized or it's infected, then it's then a matter of how you really handle that. And a big part of it is keeping the wound clean, the dressing, how it's changed, making sure the antibiotics are there, and the nurses and doctors, and so handling the different things in a particular way. But I must emphasize that an ordinary person whose health is good, who's been eating well and so forth, is unlikely to pick up any sort of aspect of this.
Suppose a person succumbs to a stroke or heart attack and have to be hospitalized.
Yes.
And from your own experience in your practice, what is likely to be? Can such a person be affected?
So a person who would go into the hospital, but because they would have gone through and done major cleaning, they would go into a clean environment, and they would not be exposed to this particular bacteria in any way. The patient who would have had it, I don't know, I don't have an update on whether they've been discharged home and so forth yet. But they would be in isolation, depending on the nature of their wound infection. If they needed to be in the hospital for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, they would continue in that isolation,
But let me just clarify. Wound, you mean like an abrasion on the skin?
I'm talking about a diabetic who's had 3 toes cut off, or their heel cut off, or the bottom of their foot cut off, and therefore, as they stitch it back, they're now waiting for that to heal, and so forth, and it may not heal as well, and you don't want gangrene or things like that to develop, so that I think Mr.
Lansford,
Yes, I have a question for Dr. Thompson. I know, and even in this conversation, that he has addressed it on more than it, but I want to ask the question to get a specific answer. Comment first. I note that in the release from the Ministry of Health, they mentioned that they will be undertaking contact tracing. So my question is, Dr. Thompson, based on the information that is before you, I assume it might just be the information that is in the public, and your analysis of this information, what is the risk to the average Vincentian who lives outside and who really not interacting with the health system and so forth, as well as visitors who are coming to St. Vincent? And I think that is very important that we address that. Persons who are coming to St. Vincent, whether on business or for vacation and whatever purpose they're coming for. What is the risk to them, Dr. Thompson?
Yes, okay, with two aspects there, I want to address it. Now, by contact tracing, we would talk typically about 2 aspects. And I got to say it, the people who would have been interacting with these patients, nurses and doctors, would check their fingernails, we would check to see, if there is any, if their normal germs that's on their skin, their own germs have now been partially replaced with this type of germ. I've got to say that. And these individuals, they are not going to be affected typically by those germs. But as in the case of COVID, if I coughed into my hand and I then didn't wash it and I shook your hand, I could then pass on the virus to you. So bacteria can be passed on from one person to another. But if you are a normal, healthy individual, it's not going to have any effect. We can call this, and I'm using this technical term, that colonization, not an infection. It is colonize your hand. But most of the time, your own body defense system is going to clear that germ and get rid of it. Now, they could sometimes also trace it to relatives. Check a relative, the wife or the husband of the person who has that wound infection, and double check with them too. If they find any particular sign of things, they would recommend certain procedures. Again, greater washing, certain type of soaps and so forth and things like that, that they will be to use to help reduce and get rid of that particular germ. Now, when it comes to visitors, I want to take a slightly different, but because this is something that's been prevalent in other parts of the world. It hasn't been so prevalent in Canada, but it's very prevalent in the United States. There is a stronger chance of a person from the United States or from Europe or from somewhere come in and they may have that particular germ on them. You understand? Yes, and and I might surprise you with that, Mr. Weeks, in saying that. So the chances of somebody having it with them, let's say somebody's diabetic coming down from you and they have a wound, or somebody's in New York and they're coming home to visit their relative and they also have a problem or they have a relative.
So, Dr. Thompson, having an abrasion on the skin, wherever, that's important, isn't it?
Not so much an abrasion. I don't want to put it down as so simple as an abrasion. Okay. I'm talking about a wound where somebody has to now use crutches or somebody.
Okay.
I'm using a simple term. Somebody has a sore foot.
Okay.
Somebody has a sore foot.
What we used to call life sore long ago, Dr. Thompson.
Life sores, right? Or things like that. Somebody has a sore foot and they come in Mago. They may well, depending on which part of the world they may. But so in terms of that, but on the other hand, in terms of any visitor coming here and being infected by this, that is highly, highly, highly unlikely. You know what I mean? And that I would imagine that so far in the hospital, these particular 4 patients have been quite isolated. I did get some information. They haven't been able to detect this in any other patient. Okay, so it is quite isolated. And so the risk to visitors, well, I think the question that Ms. Weaver, the risk to visitors is going to be extremely, extremely low, virtually non-existent. You know what I mean? But I also threw into the picture that a visitor may well come from a country having already been exposed to this and so forth. You know what I mean? Somebody who they have a prostate problem and they have a urinary catheter still in to let out the water from time to time because they've had prostate surgery or something. Typically, most of these patients would have been handled overseas to the completion and resolution of their problem. But let's say they have to come down because they're coming for a funeral or something like that. And they have to leave and they're still receiving, medical treatment. They could well happen. And that's been happening all around the world. That's why this particular germ is also so widespread. But what they found is that big jumps in this germ took place during COVID. Big jumps took place during the Desert Storm wars,
so in the case of COVID, that was as a result of the weakened immune system?
It was a result of a few things. Mm-hmm. Number one, some patients who felt that they might have had COVID, they found a way of trying to get antibiotics. These days, you can get antibiotics online. You can online pharmacies and somebody is sending you in a post and so forth. You have to go to a doctor, during COVID, you're able to get the antibiotics and you could self-medicate with some antibiotics, amoxicillin, something like that, thinking, well, I don't think this is COVID. I don't believe there's COVID. I believe COVID is a hoax. Mm-hmm. It must be just an ordinary bacteria I have or something like that. Let me take some antibiotics, hopefully we'll get. But what that's doing, it is also exposing you to antibiotics that you don't need. Mm. And that's been going on for decades now, but in addition, the patients who were very sick with COVID, they might have been admitted to the intensive care unit. And the intensive care units were full. You recall in some hospitals in America where there were patients in the hallways and so forth, intubated.
In containers.
And, yes, and right. And that allowed for this germ to easily pass from one person to another in the intensive care unit and cause pneumonia. But I hasten to say, in St. Vincent, we've not had any cases of the word crab. You know, I hate it, but this word crab pneumonia or crab infection of the IV lines, it's only been wound infections. So I don't know if I answered his question related to visitors and so forth. You know,
Lansford?
Yeah, yes, Dr. Thompson. Yeah. I hope that those who are listening would understand that.
And I think that they have things under fairly well controlled in the early days, and the level of disinfectant. You know, there are places.
I'm mindful of our time, I just wanted to emphasize those things that you would want us to leave to practice basically.
Now, in general, this teaches us. You know, they said after COVID there's going to be a new normal. Unfortunately, I think we have slackened off on the way we wash our hands. You know, and I these days, coming into the studio, I want to go and wash my hands before I come into the studio. Say, no disrespect to you. You know what I mean?
Not me, is it?
No disrespect to you.
To the other people who use the studio.
Respect. And in terms of eating healthy to strengthen your own body immune system and so forth. Not really drowning it in rum and alcohol and other things like that. And getting good advice, reading good advice, not panicking in relation to things. The issue of, I think that this particular germ may well have been here, you know, sometime before. If it'd been in some other Caribbean islands, I said what I won't mention, you know. Therefore, it'd be here. If it's been all around the world and we have international travel all the time and people traveling in and out, then, you know, it probably would be here. But it's something that we have to monitor, continue. But the alarm that, well, people should not be fearful about going down to the hospital and visiting a relative.
People may be wondering, do they need to wear a mask going to the hospital?
No, they don't need to do that. They don't need to do that. And it is not a germ that is spread by respiratory problems. It's not spread by air contamination as we had with COVID and the viruses and so forth. It's more going to be something with your hands and so forth. And I thought that's important.
Yeah, Lansford, it's about that time.
Thank you, Cecil.
I thought you were going to make any closing.
Yeah, I want to thank Dr. Thompson for coming and participating in the program today. I think he added, well, not that I think, he definitely added to the content and the richness of the program. I also want to thank him for going around and providing the public information. And in so doing, well, to date, this issue has not become a political issue, because too often we seek to get political mileage out of some issues that are really not political. And in so doing, we can harm, and we have seen it, we harm the country. Point in case, Cecil, when we go around talking about we have gangs, and we have gangs, and that is coming from the highest authorities with respect to national security. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that those who have issued travel advisory to their citizens coming to St. Vincent in recent time, that those kind of statements contribute to that. When you go around telling the world you can't pay your debt, we expect people to lend you money, Cecil. If I come to you and tell you, boy, Cecil, I don't have a job, I don't have any income, but lend me $20, is that you would have to give it to me? You would have to be a crazy man for me to tell you, lend me $20 and you're going to loan me. And therefore, if Dr. Thompson has the responsibility to advise you whether or not to lend me, Dr. Thompson will tell you, no, Cecil, the outlook is bleak, so don't lend him. Thank you, Doc. Thank you for having me again for another program, sister.
All right. So Doc, again, joining Landsworth will give you lots of thanks for being on the program today.
It's always my pleasure.
And I expect to hear you or see you on Activated Morning tomorrow.
Yes.
You'll
We
be
talk
there.
with lots of other things to talk about. and so forth.
Okay.
You know, I'm sure a certain person would call in. I'll niggle him a little bit. I will. I mean, I'm a bit mischievous in some respect. I'll needle him a little bit.
I know
and so
this
forth.
Activated Morning is getting very popular.
It is?
I know it is.
Okay. All right. Yeah, well, life does a good job. with
Yeah,
variety
he raises a
and so
lot
forth.
of sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I disagree with him on on certain things. I disagree with the approach to the police and so forth and things like that.
Okay.
I gotta say that. You know, I think we got to, incorporate the police as being our friends, as our protectors and so forth. So that's the only thing. But I think
maybe
other
he's
than
doing
that-
those things to pull them out.
Well, yeah, he pulled them out, but I think either which way he goes left, he hits them, right, he hits them, and so forth.
He goes center,
I
he
just
hit
say, he'd be upset when I say that, but I think a different approach, can be taken, and so in that regard.
Well, he's making Activated Morning exciting.
And
attracting a lot of
I know a release. People that they think I have a beef with release and so forth. Do
you have a beef with
Not
release?
at all. Not at all. I offered to go on a cruise with her. and
What?
so forth.
That's big. That's big news.
Yeah. No, it was big news at the time. A lot of people thought that. And of course, I was joking. I was joking. I'm not gonna get myself in trouble and stuff. Be misogynist and so on.
Well, Dr. Thompson, thanks a lot
My
again.
pleasure.
And of
My
course, as usual, you're a man who's always willing to give your time.
Sure.
A good citizen.
Good citizen.
And I'll have to call him whenever. I'm a good citizen. I was saying earlier on that we want to add a little bit a fresh dimension to the program. So we would want to hear from people across the country, Grenadines,
That'd be
mainland, all
interesting.
over.
That'd be interesting.
So for them to just give a report on what's happening in their part of the country.
Yeah.
So we want to add that. And not every Sunday, of course.
Yeah, of
We would
course,
make it, yeah.
Good to
But
get that.
we got to make the program, and the programs are becoming very exciting. So we
My
have a
pleasure.
program. Thanks again, and thanks for all those persons who called us to the program this morning, and thanks for the other stations that carry the program, and a special thanks to Mrs. Goodluck in New York who gave this long update on what happened at the picnic. Thank you very much, and continue doing the work that you guys. Sorry, I just saw a message. I'm just looking at this screen and seeing a message from a good buddy saying that Dr. Thompson, you could take her to the Kissing Bridge. You know what the Kissing Bridge is?
No.
Well, let me tell you.
It was a joke. It was a joke I was making.
No, but
It was a joke.
for information, I'll tell you, for people who are listening,
Yeah.
the Kissing Bridge
is where?
It's in Clifton, Union Island.
Oh.
There's a bridge where you go there.
Yeah.
It was rebuilt recently by Mr. Wise.
Oh yes.
When he on that reconstruction thing that he was doing. The waterfront in New York, not in New York. The waterfront in Clifton, Union Island. There's a bridge.
Yes.
So Bongo Shaka knows about it. He may have. I think he went there already too.
It's okay. He went to kiss in. He went kissing there.
I presume so.
Good Bongo. Keep it up.
And he's asking me to call his name, but I just did because he went there. All right, so as we're going to our time today, I hope the management and Kieran won't mind. We've had a good program. Kieran, thanks a lot for supporting us today. And for those persons listening, do it again next week. We'll do it again next week. On behalf of all the others, my name is Cecil Ryan. Good afternoon.